areas then push their way eastwards as we go through Sunday morning, and in the afternoon sunshine we could see 1 or 2 showers bubbling up too. The showers could turn a little heavy in places, perhaps the odd rumble of thunder, but generally lighter and more scattered than the showers we saw on Saturday. And it'll feel a little warmer than we did on Saturday as well, highs in the south of 19 or 20 degrees, but it will still be a little blustery, particularly across the west. A dry and bright start for many of us then again on Monday morning. Again, some showers across western areas, these spreading their way eastwards. And again, much lighter and much more scattered than we've seen over the weekend. However, turning cloudier across the west with another area of rain arriving. And that north-south split continues as we go through much of next week with some showers, some longer spells of rain, but also turning a little bit warmer in the south too.
Even though we'll see a cloudy start, it'll be a bright outlook for the rest of the day. Boxed Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
We're kick-starting summer with your chance to win our biggest cash prize to date, as there's an incredible £54,321 in tax-free cash to be won. What would you spend it on? A brand new car, the holiday of a lifetime, or just sit back, relax and remove some of those day-to-day financial stresses? For a chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently.
It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it?
It's explosive.
I mean, this is very good.
It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial.
And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born.
It's everything you need to kickstart your evening.
Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it.
That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. That's State of the Nation every Monday and Tuesday at 8 o'clock. Only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You
had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it. That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless. But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show. Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hello, it's 11 o'clock, which means it's time for tomorrow's newspapers tonight. Join us over the next hour for a bunch of stories, including there are more U-turns than Keir Starmer sitting his driving test tonight with Zia back in reform, Musk trying to get back in the White House, and we'll tell you where he got his black eye as well, and Dawn French waving a white flag to save her career. How very French of her. I'm Leo Kearse, and tonight's comedians are Dixon Cox. There they are. A couple of Dixon Cox. Anyway, this is Headliners. And how are you both doing, chaps?
Oh, yes. Yeah, splendid. I've got the last outing of the rasher jacket for the People's Gammon.
Yeah, if anybody's still got their solar vision goggles...
I'm surprised you haven't worn that more.
No, I haven't worn it anywhere other than this building. By the way, if anyone wants to buy it, I will donate the money to charity. I'm thinking UNRWA.
You should.
We'll see.
And also, go on.
No, well, I was just going to say, you should donate it to my mum, because that jacket ruined her plasma TV. It is fully burnt in.
Sorry, everyone at home.
I just simply wanted to say, if you enjoy headliners, you may enjoy Dixon Cox, the
Dixon
weekly
Cox,
podcast.
yes.
It's a weekly topical podcast from me and Paul on YouTube and
Tune in, Substack, YouTube. Thank you.
Thank you.
Comes highly recommended. Leo Kearse has a YouTube channel, but we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the front page of tomorrow's Sunday Telegraph, Paul.
We are indeed. Badenoch, or Badenoch, depending on which side of the fence you sit on, let bosses ban burqa in offices. So she's coming out full Tory. For the more Tory than reform, more reform than reform, because it's not even reform's policy, is it? But Tory leader says that Sharia courts and cousin marriage are barriers to integration. I'd say so.
Well, people in Norfolk aren't going to be happy about that.
No, exactly. I think that's who she's talking about. I don't know who else she could be talking about. So bosses should have the right to ban staff from wearing burqas and other face coverings in the workplace, Kemi Badenoch says. Look, I think it probably makes sense in the Western world. I'm a free speech advocate. I'm all for people doing what they want to do. But look, we have to exist. If you can't walk into a petrol station with a helmet on, then you probably shouldn't be able to walk into a petrol station with a
I thought you were going to say, what's the world coming to? If you can't walk in...
You've got to hold up a petrol station on your way home from GBNews.
PC gone mad, mate. You want to do this show with the balaclava, you were telling me. I'm trying to be serious, but I suddenly remember that Harry Hill joke when he goes, my Sharia law. And that's in my head.
That was brilliant, I forgot that.
But it's very serious. I mean, yeah, as Paul said, she's staking out territory to the right of reform. Farage said on another channel, that doesn't matter. People don't care about left and right anymore. It doesn't matter. She say what she wants. And that may be true. It's a different battleground, isn't it? But that's what she's saying. And she makes the point, Sharia courts and cousin marriage more important. I think most people would agree with that.
I think we do, yeah. I think we do. We're most people.
Well, yeah, we all agree.
And it's sort of lining up a battle, a few years down the road between the sort of Islamist candidates. They're already seeing, sectarian Muslim candidates emerging who are, pro-cousin marriage and things like that. And the sort of, regular, your classical British values candidates.
I don't think it matters if your cousin's hot or not. You probably shouldn't engage with them.
Really? We haven't seen my cousins.
I can marry your cousins.
I would vote
over my dead body.
I'd vote for whoever was wearing that jacket. That jacket is so offensive to so many different types of people. Because it's all bacon.
This is my version of the burqa.
OK, and let's have a look as well. So Zia Yusuf, a politician formerly known as Cat Stevens, he's returned to reform after just 2 days in the wilderness. He didn't like not having a job.
Yeah, do you not find this... I mean, I'm asking you both here, but I find this quite embarrassing, really. Embarrassing, not for me. I'm not embarrassed. I'm not embarrassed for Sir Yusuf. Well, I'm embarrassed for Reform, because Reform are the great sort of phoenix from the flames, OK, of what has become the UK. There's this huge void in politics. On one side of the void, you've got the Uni Party, where all other parties sit, and then there's this massive void, and there's only one person filling it. That's Nigel Farage and Reform. Nigel Farage has great faith in Zia Yusuf, undoubtedly so. And unfortunately, Zia Yusuf knows it. He's behaving in such a way. It just feels to me like the Rupert Lowe story, he was exhausted in the week, so he flounced off. What we need is strong leadership. I don't want to see flouncing at this stage.
But I'd also like to see Reform, because it feels like a one-trick pony. It's just Farage carrying it. And without Farage, they're nothing. As Brexit and as Brexit Party and UKIP were nothing without Farage. So, I mean, I don't like to see, Reform pushing out talent. And while, I understand people might have reservations about his attitude to banning the burqa and things like that, he's really good on Doge-style reformation of local authority and government, fraud and overspending.
Yes, well, I have heard that he's good on data and logistics and things. Then again, you speak to other people and they say he's basically put everyone's backs up. Aaron Banks put out a tweet suggesting he'd alienated people, then deleted that tweet when he was back again, suddenly hours later. There's quite a bit of that going on. And it was a bit like George. Remember at Seinfeld when George quits his job? I put up a tweet about it because he quits his job and then just goes back and agrees with Jerry. He'll just pretend that he hasn't quit. Goes back in 48 hours later. It's like, people don't take you seriously.
You're emotional.
It's a great tactic, exactly. This is what Yusuf has done. He basically got annoyed. He quit, put it out on Twitter. He did a real Elon Musk. He was like, I don't even reform of the vehicle for me. It's a waste of my time. they're great and I'm dedicating my life to it. It's like, mate...
Which one is it?
There's such a thing as draft tweets, do you know what I mean? You can draft it and think about it. I've done it many times. Then you delete.
At least he didn't say anybody was on Epstein Island. That would have been...
I do think, seriously, though, that Farage is now under pressure to explain to the electorate why Zia Youssef should be so important that he can flounce about all over the place and still be given a job, because it looks to me as if this is no longer Farage's party. It's Farage and Zia Youssef or nothing at all.
Yeah. What's strange is this is the one person Farage has managed to make up with. I mean, I've got to be careful, because last night I was told I'm attacking reform too much. Then someone else commented that we're too pro-reform. So I'm walking in the impossible tightrope. But why is this the case when he couldn't reconcile with Rupert Lowe? I mean, he said the other day he'd rather eat razor blades than reconcile with Rupert Lowe, and yet Zia's like straight back in. So it's quite...
And by the way, you don't have to be pro-reform. You've got to be pro-Britain, pro-UK. And if someone fills that space in a way that shows strong leadership, I'm all for it. If again, I'll use the word, this is flouncing, and I want to see strong leadership from whoever fills that void.
Yeah. And let's move on and have a look at the Sunday Times, Nick.
Sunday Times has many, many things. One of them is many things. It has White House warns number 10 on China embassy. So senior US officials deeply concerned about espionage risk to sensitive financial data. And there's this super embassy. Everything's always super and mega when China. There's like mega churches, super embassies, hyper missiles. And they've got this... It was blocked by the previous government after British intelligence warnings, but now it's been revived after personal lobbying by President Xi, and you know he's neutral. That's the great thing about Xi. It's extraordinary, because Trump has said, he said Starmer should deny permission for this, but Labour's always doing this thing where they're kind of cozying up a little bit to China, it feels like to me. But they also want to like Trump and the EU, but like, oh, but we'd like Trump and the EU and China. It's like, sometimes you've got to pick.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the classic parable of selling the soul to the devil. We've already done that with China. China own the world, OK? China own a lot of the supply chain throughout the world. America might be the biggest economy. They might be the biggest superpower. But China have been incredibly careful and diligent about how they've gone about buying up materials and the supply chain all across the world. You have no choice but to work with China.
It sounds like demoralising Chinese propaganda. China has total victory. Like, hang on, Paul. They haven't won yet, mate.
It's Manchurian candidate. Bacon.
I'd like to pledge my allegiance, as I always have done, to the great leader. But it's true, though. Whoever is in government, whether we like it or not, whether Trump likes it or not, the Americans, the UK, whoever, French, whoever you are, you've got to work with China.
Yeah, and it's a shame, but it's also a shame that, you know, Britain and Europe used to be, you know, bastions of liberalism and free speech and individual rights, and we're not anymore. Now, you know, we're seeing people getting arrested for things that they say. I think if China invaded and took over Europe, we'd feel more free. At least we'd know what we're not allowed to say. You know, you're not allowed to mention Tiananmen Square. I wasn't going to mention Tiananmen Square anyway.
Right. Just tattoo the number on my shoulder and let me get on with my freedom.
And don't bang on about the Uyghur Muslims. Those are the only rules. And do your work and make the phone parts. Simple. It's a simple contract.
Your children will work hard. No problem.
Yeah, give up your thirst for freedom, as those drones used to shout at people during that.
And for all that people criticise, you know, China's attitude and approach to Muslims, very few mass killings, terrorist attacks by Islamists in China.
They don't blow up stadiums in China, do they?
They're not allowed to. Let's move on and have a look at the Mail on Sunday, Paul.
Oh, let's do that. Why not? Boy 8 turned away by NHS because he is a private school pupil. I'm all for this, actually. Well done, the NHS. No, I'm not. An outraged mother has accused the NHS of shocking discrimination after her 8-year-old son was denied vital treatment just because he goes to a private school. Tory MPs described the move as morally indefensible. Of course. I mean, I don't. What I don't want to say is that this story is 100% true, because I don't know if it is. I've only read the front page. However, let's just hypothesise for a minute that this has actually happened because he went to a private school. The NHS should just treat everybody. But if they're going to sort out who they're going to treat, don't punish the people that are going to lead the country in 20 years' time.
They're going to have a grudge against the NHS.
Please just support this poor lad, so when he does become a Tory MP, he supports the NHS.
And also the people, you know, the kids of parents who you know, kids who go to private school, their parents pay by far the greatest share of taxes. They're paying for all the, you know, all the povs to use the NHS for free.
It's a good point. It's a classic Leo point. Yeah, I mean, it's why it's the politicization of everything, isn't it? The NHS, you've got Israel-Palestine keeps popping up with the NHS. People like don't want to. You're worried about treatment if someone has a Palestine necklace or something like that. Everything's politicized. It's very hard to put that back in the box, isn't it? And it's appalling. But I was shocked this was actually happening. Even in 2025, I was shocked that this would happen.
Yeah.
He's 8. And you're like, oh.
He's not triggered a class war. I mean, the sub-headline here is MP says Labour's raid on fee-paying schools has triggered a class war and pernicious discrimination in public services. And then they allude to the NHS. For whatever reason, politically, the fodder has become children, whether it's trans ideology or because their parents happen to have worked hard enough to send them to a fee-paying school. Could we just leave the kids alone? It's ridiculous. It's got absolutely nothing to do with them. What they want to do with their bits, where they go to school, just leave them alone till they're about 18.
I like that unifying message better than your worship China.
Well, I've been given permission by China to say this message.
Yeah. And you shall not have more than one child.
Yeah, as long as it's only one boy, actually. Well done, one boy. Congratulations.
And I feel like there is a sort of two-tiered society opening up with public services, because with so many services now, it's almost like the Soviet Union. If you can afford it, if you can negotiate and hassle and use your influence to get better services and bribe public officials to get better services, you can do that. You can pay for private medical care. You can use your influence to get better services off the public services that exist. But that means that we're having a two-tier system, and also the sort of system where people pay tax to support public services for everyone. There's less of a sort of feeling of paying into a pot that you're going to depend on as well.
Right. Everything's going to end up private. You'll have your private security instead of the police, your private healthcare, and we'll just never see each other. Just live in pods, all separate.
Yeah. I mean, I've got some personal health requirements at the moment which require me to go private because the NHS just could not and do not support what I'm having with my ear at the moment. It's just
it's your ear this time.
It's my ear. Sorry, It's not my rat.
The other thing.
It's not my. Yeah, I was going to mention that. That was purely my own fault. And you can actually buy that cream off a guy called Gary in my local pub.
It's Pride Month. What are you going to do, man?
Let's hope that monkeypox clears up. Let's have a look at the Eye Weekend.
Eye Weekend. Why not? It's kind of a paper. It's Alzheimer's blood test breakthrough to help spot disease early. So some serious but good news here. Studies suggest that this new test has a 95% accuracy in identifying people with memory problems and is also 82% effective at ruling out people who don't have dementia to offer them reassurance. I don't really have any funny remarks about it, though. That's the only problem with it.
You could read it again to pretend you got Alzheimer's.
I know, I thought about it. I thought it was too obvious. And that was my only idea exhausted. Then I thought about some joke about Lewis Schaefer's no, because then everyone will just tweet about him. And I was like, I've got nothing left. That's all I've got.
Is the 95% accuracy, is it just, if you remember to actually return the test, then you pass?
I mean, I'm not going to be taken seriously because I'm wearing a jacket with bacon on, but...
Yeah.
This obviously Alzheimer's is a very serious. I don't know if it affected either you two in your families in any way, but dementia and Alzheimer's. It's so. For anyone who's got to go through it, the person going through it actually is probably in the best position because they don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Family members close to them and those that have to care for them. It's a terrible, terrible disease. So anything that gets close to breaking through, identifying it quicker, fixing it, whatever, eradicating it completely, it's all good. But I haven't got anything funny to say other than to take the mick out of people with Alzheimer's.
OK. Well, let's move on and see if there's anything funny on the front page of The Independent.
Well, there are 9 people that are in some way proud.
That looks like every single comedy show lineup in 2025. That looks like the cast list for every Netflix special.
Interestingly, there isn't much in the way of diversity on there, though, is there?
No, you can tell. They've all got the same
They're all
attitudes.
proud.
Why can't they have
way
some
too proud.
I mean,
pride's a sin. What are we doing?
Why can't they have some other sins there?
Gluttony list.
You guys know who the old chap is. I just thought he looked sinister to me.
Yeah, David Hockney. He's the only one I knew. I didn't know the other ones.
The other ones,
I've watched Game of Thrones. They is from Game of Thrones. That's a non-binary.
Yeah.
This one's the first. This one's a trans judge. Top left. Bottom left is the first trans Doctor Who writer. Heck of a breakthrough there. Very important. Just cancelled.
Smashing ceilings all over the place.
Why did I not get on there as the first transgender host of a light entertainment news show?
Exactly. And, I mean, I wear this jacket. Surely I count as something.
Do you know who else is on the list, though not pictured? Is Wes Streeting, weirdly. I didn't.
But what's that for?
No, apparently he's help the cause or something.
He's a bit queer.
Is he on?
Did you mean that in the 1940s?
Is he like an ally, or is he actually?
I think he's an ally of some sort. Yeah.
Right.
So
We're all allies. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well done, the
Oh, yeah,
Independent.
we're clearly allies already. I just thought the gluttony list. I mean,
we are the Independent massive virtue signal. Well done, you woolies. I mean, come on. Oh, look at us. Look, we put pictures of homosexual people on the front page, and now we feel special. Have a day off.
That's the most gammony thing you've ever said.
I've got the jacket on.
The jacket's unleashed you. You've gone peak.
I don't think any of them are actually homosexual.
Well, they are now.
Apart from David Hockney, most of them are just straight people. This is the thing about Pride now. You can just be a regular straight person. It makes me furious as a genuine transgender woman. You can just say your whatever identity or you're queer or whatever. It doesn't mean anything. I think, the least you should do, there should be some sort of,
test.
Some sort of test.
Absolutely.
Some sort of official,
let's see some
it.
videos.
The least interesting aspect of anyone is their sexuality, isn't it?
Yeah, depends how boring they are.
Well, it's less like Epstein, maybe, but yeah, in general, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
move on and have a look at the front page.
Just in my mind because of Elon Musk.
Front page of the Observer. It's got a couple of nice seals.
Yeah,
swinging
happy
around.
to. It's deep trouble. 90% of UK Marine Reserve's bottom trawled. This is also a Pride Month thing, I think. 300 species threatened with extinction. And China's fleet dumps more fish than UK eats. I mean, I'm reading this for the first time, so I've got no idea.
You were all over this.
I made one joke and I couldn't recover from my own joke. This is something to do... I don't know what this is about. Paul, did you understand this? It's about fish.
No, I can see there's kelp and there's some seals and Deep Trouble, which I thought was a Deep Purple tribute band, but it's not. 90% of UK Marine bottom trawled. I had the same joke when I read it. I couldn't do that either. What I would say is the Observer, also rubbish.
Nice, that's the most gammony. This is your new gammony persona. You've been watching Thomas Skinner on the internet.
But I think this could fit into your Brexity, gammony, trans fat jacket wearing issue, because this is, if the EU come over here and fish our waters, it's only going to get worse. But I mean, the least we could do is start blowing some Chinese ships out of the water.
Could they fish the people in boats out of the waters and trawl them back somewhere, please? Come on.
Pure gammon. Just pure gammon tonight.
Chinese fishermen, they might just do that. Anyway, that's it for this section. Coming up, we've got lots more stories, including Keir Starmer has been accused of being racist by Diane Abbott in his own party. That's coming up in the next section. This is Headliners, only on GB News.
Where's the gammon?
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently.
It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it?
It's explosive.
I mean, this is very good.
It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial.
And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born.
It's everything you need to kickstart your evening.
Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it.
That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
But he's getting angry about his pheasants. What's going on?
He's probably got angry about his peasants in the past, but this time we're talking about the bird variety. What has happened is, Sean, quite simply, is he's woken up to the fact that a naughty gamekeeper has not kept his eye on the job, and there is there's not enough pheasants around for the usual shoots that the king has various times of the year. Now, this gamekeeper is now no longer a pheasant plucker, as he's been sacked. I was very careful with that. I've been
well done. I'm glad you did that, not me.
All along. So he's now out of a job, and the king, because he has a lack of pheasants for any guests, he's now considering cancelling a couple of the shoots, which may well be good news for the pheasants, but not so good if you're entertaining various people.
Yeah, I mean, he backs traditional countryside practices like all this, keeping in touch with the rest of us, obviously. I mean, why couldn't he have just got some more birds and release them? I mean, doesn't he do that sort of thing?
He's against all that about bringing in pheasants from other breeders. He because of what you've just said, he's very keen on rearing his own pheasants, and obviously he's got people to do that. And as I say, there's a particular gamekeeper who's clearly taken his eye off the job and has not carried out the breeding programme that the king had expected. You know, it's just one of these sort of things that happens. He's not very happy, and you know, there's now a vacancy for a new gamekeeper who can do the job properly.
Yeah, indeed. A royal source who has spoken to The Sun, our old paper, Charles, said, let's just say Charles is well and truly plucked off.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
Because
the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Headliners, and let's go to gbnews.com/YourSay to see what you've been up to. Northern Bloke says, I might get some of Miliband's solar panels. The glare from Paul Cox's jacket would power them for years. And Arthur Dent says, Paul has had his bottom trawled. Fred Burton has replied, saying, not as much as Starmer. I've got no idea what any of that means.
No, me either. I think it's funny, though.
It's a fishing reference.
OK, we've got the Mail now, with an asylum seeker revealed to be the thing he's running from, Nick.
Yes, a pro-Palestine activist who avoided prosecution after he chanted, I love the 7th of October, is a Muslim refugee granted asylum in the UK. It emerged today. So the 7th of October, it may have just been his birthday, so let's not
let's not overreact.
27-year-old Kuwaiti guy. And he said another interesting thing. He shouted, I like an organisation that starts with H. Could be Homebase. He may be a massive fan of patio furniture, so he can't rule it out. His actual explanation was even less likely.
Yeah.
He said it was could be the Home Office. It could be.
How he got out of it.
Could be.
Absolute bants.
So yeah, absolute bants. And this is all. Anyway, he got out of this. The Met referred this case twice to the CPS, who both times decided not to press charges. Apparently, they're now reviewing it. He was in a campaign group which states its aim is to achieve Islamic supremacy.
Yes, which,
Islamic supremacy.
Yeah.
That sounds fun.
You don't often hear... Well, it said supremacy here. You don't often hear that variant.
Which is a word, but not often used as much as supremacy.
But hey, you know, he's interesting. He's a complex guy, you know.
He is a complex guy.
Thing beginning with H.
I mean, the fact he got off of it, you know, I have my own opinion about what he says, i.e. I don't believe it, and I think it's abhorrent. But also I'm an advocate for free speech, and, you know, say what you like, mate. You know, that's the kind of country I want to live in. The kind of country I don't want to live in is where our whole system, political system, could be manipulated by someone who says they actually meant the Home Office instead of the Hamas.
Yeah.
And they believe him because they don't want any problems.
Well, because he applied and was granted asylum in the UK because he said he was fleeing Islamic extremists.
Yeah, me
and
too.
then he's over here saying things that sound to me
How can I flee him? That's the trouble. He's coming over here with his extremity, and I can't flee him. I've still got to drive back to Hampshire tonight, and he could be just lurking around the corner in one of the woods.
We're going to have to dox yourself, Paul. You've got a lot of controversial views.
Hampshire's big.
And you're quite easy to see at night.
We're going to have to claim asylum in the Middle East, I think. That's where they've got a handle on it. We've got the Telegraph now, and when Diane Abbott calls you racist, you know you've made a good point, Paul.
Yeah. Unfortunately so, yeah. Diane, I'm waiting. Starmer's immigration speech fundamentally racist, says Diane Abbott, standing weirdly because she's got the wrong shoes on. So Miss Abbott said she was very disturbed by the Prime Minister's recent speech in which he said mass immigration had done incredible damage to Britain. The important word here is mass immigration, OK? Because I believe that what Keir Starmer was trying to say is mass immigration has caused a problem. I don't believe that Keir Starmer thought that, by the way. He just read the words that were put in front of him that morning. It is a problem. The problem we do have, though, is Keir Starmer's politics are schizophrenic. We have no idea what to believe. One week he's Enoch Powell, like he was with this speech, and the next minute he's rejoining the EU and giving all our fish up. We have absolutely no idea whatsoever what Keir Starmer stands for. Diane Abbott, though, we know that she thinks everything's racist. Including her own boss.
She's never walked past anything and not said it's racist.
Racist.
She's certainly making a good attempt at losing the Labour whip again, isn't she? She only just got it back, and now she's like, you know what? The leader's racist.
Don't want it.
Got to hand it to her for that. It's gutsy. Labour has all these factions, so you know it's got quite a few different factions now. But to be fair, as you've said, it's quite hard to align with Starmer perfectly, given you don't know what he's going to say on a given day. So it'd be hard to be Dan Abbott and go, do you know what? We are an island of strangers, and I've always said it. She can't do that, can she?
Interestingly, Nick and I have discussed this on our podcast at some length with Dixon Cox. And one thing I said on there was that No, but somebody, if they came to the UK and were looking for a political party to follow, could listen to a Keir Starmer speech on a Monday morning and think, that's for me. Listen to another one by a Thursday morning and think, is that the same bloke from the same party?
Yeah.
We have no idea. Don't vote for Keir Starmer if you just come to the UK on a boat.
And you've got to look at what politicians actually do as opposed to what they actually say. And I think if you look at what Labour are going to do, it's going to be pretty much like what's happened for the last...
Yeah, just going to lock up Lucy Connolly.
Smash the gags.
Smash the gags?
Yeah, he will smash the gags.
All right, thuggery.
Great man.
We've got the Mail on Sunday now with Elon Musk U-turning sharper than a Cybertruck, Nick.
Indeed. Elon Musk makes stunning Epstein U-turn. He now likes him. After taking on Trump in war that cost him $27 billion, he doesn't really like Epstein. But he's been calming down a bit on the whole tweet storm implosion thing. There was because Trump has been really cool about it. Trump's like, I wish him well, great guy, I might destroy him. It's like a little bit of that.
Heard he's suicidal.
Yeah, Trump's like, he'd think about cancelling the loans and subsidies for his companies. We'll have to look at it. I wish him well. Those two things don't go together. But okay. And then Musk had replied likewise, and then in replying to the one about cancelling the grants, he said fair enough. So there's these rumours that Musk is trying to, get back in because he's realised, I'm the richest guy in the world, but I'm not the most powerful guy in the world, and that's a bit of a problem. And he does have a habit of going a bit mad, then calming down. Some would say, I wouldn't, of course, but some papers would say that.
We are being run. The world is being run by sort of wealthy, petulant man babies, though, at this point.
Always has. It's a great system.
It's incredible. It's a great system.
Man, Paul.
I just wish I could get in on it. I could throw a strop like the best of them. I mean, don't use Epstein. It's like don't use Hitler. It's the new don't use Hitler, isn't it? Don't use Epstein to get at your enemies, particularly if your enemy's Donald Trump. This is fascinating. We're seeing it all play out because it's all on social media. Yeah. The guy who owns the biggest social media platform in the world is having a hissy fit because the most powerful man in the world has fallen out with him.
But doesn't the Epstein thing bother you a bit? They're like, oh, yeah, we're getting on with best mates. Oh, he fell out. You went to Epstein Island. It's like, why is he playing with your kids? Why were you best mates 10 seconds ago? It's like, the girl says no, you're like, OK, you're ugly. It's like, you can't be a paedophile just because you don't like him now.
Well, this is it. Who do we believe?
Epstein Island wasn't even a paedophile island. People were saying, why is he letting him play with his kid? It's like, Epstein Island wasn't, 8-year-old boys. It was 17-year-old
You're making the case for Epstein Island. You don't hear that enough on TV.
I would have been first on that plane. You know what I mean? The only reason I'm not in those flight logs is because I wasn't invited.
You'd be on the Lolita Express.
This is my kind of Ofcom balance. They were only 17.
Leo will be on the Lolita Express going, can I go in the pilot's cockpit and see how it's like...
Don't keep saying cockpit.
Keen guy.
You're allowed 3 cockpits a show.
Do we ever find out what Hawking got up to on there?
Hawking, well, I should imagine it happened to him rather than him, I mean, he's got a pretty good defence for not forcing himself in anybody. Apparently, Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, gave Elon Musk the black. It's been reported in Newsweek and the Wall Street Journal.
Bannon said it was way before that they had the fight. So Musk allegedly shoulder barged him. Bessent hit him. Classic stuff.
Listen to this conversation. We're talking about the people that are essentially running the free world.
I know, but isn't it refreshing?
This is like a schoolyard rumour, isn't it? Well, no, because Bannon said it happened on Thursday, but no, actually it happened on Wednesday.
Refreshing, gammony energy, Paul.
This is what I'm all for. Don't buy the Observer and punch your boss in the face. That's what I'm all about.
OK, let's fit this one in. We've got The Independent now with Dawn French desperately scrambling to hold on to her advertising deals, Paul.
Dawn French issues apology following backlash to Gaza video. The actor said she clumsily used a mocking tone while trying to convey how hopeless she felt about the conflict. The conflict, of course, if you don't know, is the one in Israel and Gaza. She said, my intention was never, in capital letters, to mock or dismiss or diminish the horror of what happened on the 7th of October 2023.
But that is what she did.
It's exactly what she did. Here's my point, right? She's a comedian, actress. She would have felt very comfortable in her bubble to have said these things. She would have been well supported. At the end of the day, I have free speech again. I defend her free speech. But if you're going to say it, don't back out 3 seconds after everyone says it's offensive. You're either in comedy or you're not, or you don't say anything.
Yeah, Andrew Lawrence would have doubled down.
He definitely would have. To be fair, it was so incoherent. This is actually plausible because I didn't understand what she was saying at the time, and it was assumed that it was that. But it could be a sort of both sides thing, as she's saying. Although it's made less likely by the fact she has a Palestine flag in her bio, doesn't have an Israel flag. Yeah, she also has a rainbow and the Ukraine flag, almost identical values to Leo, basically. But she's got those flags. That's a little bit suspicious.
She's a great of British comedy, and that's not going to change my view on that. But this is mental. Well, don't say it. Why get involved? You don't need to.
Yeah, I think celebrities, they're good at putting on hats, prancing rushing around, pretending to be other people or whatever, but not very good at political, global geopolitics. You know what I mean?
Don't mock terrorism attacks. Honestly, trust me, I've tried it. It don't work.
It's always a good rule. That's it for this section. Coming up, we've got lots more stories, including Orwell's 1984 comes with a trigger warning. I mean, he couldn't have put that in the book. That's insane. This is Headliners, only on GB News.
Lovely.
Good evening and welcome to your latest GB News weather from the Met Office. So there's been plenty of heavy and thundery showers for many of us today, and there are further showers on the way as we go through the rest of the weekend, but these generally more scattered in nature. The weather fronts that we've seen through today that brought us those heavy showers clear away eastwards as we go through into the start of Sunday, but those tightly packed isobars indicate some strong and blustery winds still. Any heavy thundery showers across the southeast quickly clear eastwards as we go into the early hours of Sunday morning. 1 or 2 showers still skirting across the north-east coast, and further showers then arriving across Northern Ireland during the early hours. But for many of us, plenty of clear skies, and that does mean it could turn a little chilly in places, particularly across the northern half of the country. But it does mean a dry and bright start for many of us on Sunday morning. Across parts of Scotland, there'll be plenty of early sunshine, perhaps a few showers skirting the very far north and the very far west. Perhaps a little bit more cloud here with those showers pushing in. And across Northern Ireland, a showery start to the day too. For northern parts of England, central, southern, eastern parts of England, there'll be plenty of sunshine to start the day. But for parts of Wales, southwest England, perhaps a little more cloud around with 1 or 2 isolated showers to start. The showers we see across western areas then push their way eastwards as we go through Sunday morning, and in the afternoon sunshine we could see 1 or 2 showers bubbling up too. The showers could turn a little heavy in places, perhaps the odd rumble of thunder, but generally lighter and more scattered than the showers we saw on Saturday. And it'll feel a little warmer than we did on Saturday as well, highs in the south of 19 or 20 degrees, but it will still be a little blustery, particularly across the west. A dry and bright start for many of us then again on Monday morning. Again, some showers across western areas, these spreading their way eastwards. And again, much lighter and much more scattered than we've seen over the weekend. However, turning cloudier across the west with another area of rain arriving. And that north-south split continues as we go through much of next week with some showers, some longer spells of rain, but also turning a little bit warmer in the south too.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date. Or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently.
It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it?
It's explosive.
I mean, this is very good.
It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial.
And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born.
It's everything you need to kickstart your evening.
Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it.
That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Headliners, and let's go to gbnews.com/yoursay for some of your comments. Arthur Dent says, Hawking used to go to Stringfellow Strip Club and a California swingers sex club. I know because I danced there when I was still a woman. I added that last bit. Tricia Lewis says, Islamic nations are not allowing their Islamists to freely carry on over there, and so they flee to Great Britain by its wide open borders as taxpayers will keep paying for their freebies, albeit these Islamists hate this nation. How long will this carry on? I can't see this carrying on into perpetuity.
Keep it light, it's a comedy show.
Yeah, but some very good points that made there, and some sobering points as well. Let's get drunk again with this next story. It's the Telegraph now, and Orwell's 1984 now comes with a trigger warning, which hopefully warns Keir Starmer to stop using it as an instruction manual, Nick.
That'd be nice. Orwell's 1984 now comes with trigger warning. It's beyond all parody. I thought this had already happened, though. Similar things have happened with other books. This is the most absurd example, obviously, the apotheosis of woke nonsense. And so this relatively nothing writer who I've never heard of called Dolan Perkins Valdez, an American novelist, says, I was enjoying this novel on its own terms, blah, blah, blah. But then until Winston reveals himself to be a problematic character. For example, we learn of him he disliked nearly all women, especially the young and pretty ones. It's like, OK, a few things. Aside from the absurdity, obviously, of having a warning on Orwell and the Orwellian nature of that, the characters can be problematic because they don't all have to be moral. They don't have to be in line with your latest ideology. Also, fiction, as Bret Easton Ellis has pointed out, can be about aesthetics, not about morality. There's nothing that says all the characters have to be... Can you imagine fiction with only non-problematic characters? I mean, American Psycho's not even getting off the ground, all right, number one. This is insane. Raskolnikov, in one of the great novels, Crime and Punishment, kills a prostitute with an axe. That's gone. Do you know what I mean? So there's just pointless novel. There's no crime, there's no punishment, there's no novel.
So the perfect book now would be written by AI, and it would just be perfectly non-problematic people walking around introducing themselves to each other with their pronouns.
We'll just be watching Mr. Tumble.
Yeah.
Have you seen it with your daughter? Have you ever seen
I haven't watched Mr. Tumble yet.
Yeah, it's a kid's character. Suspicious guy, I'd say, but we'll find out in 15 years. That's a false accusation. I don't believe that's true at all. But, I mean, the irony that they're censoring 1984 is completely lost on them, of course. The most realistic thing now is that this book is being lived out day by day. Who wants to read literature that's safe for these people? I want to find out what these people find unsafe, and then I want to throw my whole existence into it and enjoy it with the lust of life. Because I don't want any of these people... They should have a nice little soft play area, maybe some bubbles, coloured balls, all this sort of stuff, pronouns written on the wall and other nice things that make them feel lovely, and Daddy can be nice again. But they do not need to be touching art or literature at all. Just leave it alone. We want to enjoy stuff. Leave us alone. Go away.
They must have intuited on some level that Orwell is not on their side. It's much like the new Andy Serkis animated version of Animal Farm, which seems to, from the clips I've seen, take the anti-Soviet message, turn it into a kind of anti-racist thing. Very, very strange. It's these attempts to... have you not seen it? Very weird. These attempps to mess with Orwell.
So it's been flipped to a sort of pro-communism...
It did look a lot like that from the clip I saw. I'd have to watch the whole thing, which I'm not going to do.
Well, we've got the Mail on Sunday now, and children are going to be banned from social media. How's Hugh Edwards going to meet them now, Paul?
That is funny, but I don't know why. Children could be banned from spending more than 2 hours on any one phone app and blocked from social media after 10 p.m. in new anti-doom scrolling measures. I mean, on a serious note, Gen Z are the first generation to have had grown up knowing nothing other than social media, so just being entirely exposed to social media. My daughter's part of that generation. Your daughter's also part of that generation. They are... It's all very well us Gen Xers and millennials saying things like this is bad, because by our comparison it is. We aren't going to know the full extent of the damage of this until they grow up and they're able to teach the next generation. However, whilst I agree it's likely to be negative an impact now, I cannot stand the idea of a nanny state. Every single law that comes out at the moment, whether it's vaping, and I don't vape or smoke or drink or any of these things actually, but Labour just love to get all over it and say, it's OK, we're going to sort it all out, we're going to look after you. I don't want them anywhere near it. I want smaller government and Keir Starmer near nothing. Nick, over to you. Go on, mate.
Well, I was going to let Leo speak on it, but I can say something. I mean, I wonder, is it the phones or is it the degenerate culture, or is it both? Because one here is in China, and I don't know because I don't worship it like you.
Well, I do, and
Nick,
be careful.
One here is that, TikTok is sort of more about sort of melioristic content, kind of improvement, educational, rather than kind of just degeneracy and weird dancing. So there is a world where you could look at a phone and it was relatively safe, but I suppose you're bound to have all the horrors of the world on it. I don't know.
Yeah, and kids will find ways around this. They'll use, they'll use VPNs or whatever to set their phone to a different time zone. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be pretty unworkable in practice. And also, I'm worried if kids aren't on their phones, are they going to be out doing happy slapping and vandalism again?
We'll be back to that, ASBOs. We'll have the next version of ASBO. It's a good point. At least they're all at home ruining themselves and not my time.
Absolutely. We've got the Telegraph now, and apparently the BBC is at a crossroads. It's unsustainable. Is this unique?
Yeah, it's unsustainable. BBC at a crossroads as viewers switch off. I mean, we've done this story many, many times because it's the story of the BBC now. Tim Davies basically saying, I want some more money. He says, I want proper investment and not begrudging grinding cuts to the BBC, which you've had in the last 10 years, which have just not helped. And they've lost 50,000 licence fee payers recently. recently, price fee dropped to 23.9 million. Anyway, they're not doing well. You get the idea, especially among 16 to 24-year-olds who spend just 5% of their in-home video time with the BBC, which is a weird phrase, compared to 23% for over 35s. You get the idea. It's failing because it's a different marketplace. You've got nickdixon.net out there. You're competing with all these little things, you know, Netflix, Substack, you can go on and on. And the BBC is just anachronistic. We all know that. And like I always say, if they'd been completely neutral, I'm sure people would support them because there is a lot of love still for the BBC. But unfortunately, they've spectacularly failed in that.
Well, they should launch themselves in the free market. If it's such a great service, people will happily pay voluntarily for the BBC. It's absolutely ridiculous to have, you know, the people come around your door and batter your door down because you've got to be shaken down for a licence to own a television. I mean, it's as if, like, Panasonic would come around and demand money because you've bought a microwave. You need to get a microwave licence, and you'll be like, well, this one's a Toshiba. This one's a Hisense.
I don't have any problem with the BBC, having just signed a new contract with them to do a late-night news people review show called Wokeliners. I'm all for it. I hope they last another 100 years.
Are you going to wear the jacket?
Yeah, I'm going to. No, it's just.
On the other side, it's
I
like
just got a purple hair jacket. What I would say is, for over 100 years, 1922, the BBC was first established. They've been freely paid by the taxpayer.
Yeah.
And I think what you're seeing now is
keep any of that.
Save up.
Yeah, you know, you think, why can't they invest some of that? That's exactly what's going on. I had a load of punchlines then, but you just trod all over them.
Sorry.
No, I was only joking. I could just see then that you thought I was being serious. No, I wasn't. No, I mean, look, the problem is with the BBC is that it's become this, it's bought into the sort of woke ideology / religion, and the majority of the taxpayers aren't members of that religion.
Yeah.
So they're not seeing the programming they once saw and want to see again. It's why you see so many repeats on other channels of good BBC shows.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, why should people who aren't represented by the BBC pay for the BBC? It's
correct,
ridiculous.
Leo.
Moving on, we've got the Mail on Sunday now, and COVID maestro Dr. Fauci, is a super spreader of dodgy virus evidence, Paul.
Yeah, victory for American people as Fauci phone and hard drive seized in COVID probe. I wonder what he's got on those. So this is the FBI Director Kash Patel revealed on Thursday that Trump administration had recovered the devices, calling it a great breakthrough and a victory for American people. And it's almost forgotten now, but 2020, 5 years ago, the whole year was run by doctors.
Yeah.
And what they said. And if those doctors were politically co-opted in any way and had...
Which they all were.
Oh, my goodness.
Paid by your bosses, the Chinese government.
Paid by my bosses, the BBC and China. Oh, I don't know which one you're referring to, same people to me. But, what we're starting to see now is that it was all nonsense. I mean, God bless Lewis Schaefer. He's still alive, by the way. I'm ever so sorry if anyone thinks he's not. But God bless him. He's been saying this for five years, and he's absolutely right. I think they're going to find all sorts of nasties, but Fauci's not a stupid man, so he's probably erased his hard drive. It's just going to be
Nick,
ladies.
Do you agree that Lewis Schaefer is still alive?
I can't say. I don't want to give out misinformation, but this would be huge, wouldn't it? But there needs to be a reckoning about COVID. No one really wants to talk about it, but this would be so massive. You get in and the person who had so much power during that time, far too much power, the shoes on the other foot, it would be great, but let's see. But people don't want to talk about it because it was such a traumatic time.
Yeah, well, that's it for this section. Coming up, we've got that story about Tommy Robinson being kicked out of the Hawksmoor London restaurant for no reason, basically, just for existing and having his opinions. That's on Headliners, only on GB News. See you in a moment.
Looking happy.
Well, the forecast looks good.
So you've sorted the travel insurance then?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
The heatwave continues across parts of Europe, temperatures pushing into the high 30s, and this is bringing some severe thunderstorms in places. But for many areas across Spain, Portugal, the Canary Islands, largely dry and settled, plenty of sunshine. The main risk of thunderstorms is going to be across northern Italy, Austria, perhaps southern parts of Germany, but elsewhere across the Mediterranean, staying dry, lots of hot sunshine. And this continues into next week, so feeling very warm indeed.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. That's State of the Nation every Monday and Tuesday at 8 o'clock. Only on GB News, the People's Channel.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently.
It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it?
It's explosive.
I mean, this is very good.
It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and he did nothing.
It's controversial.
And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born.
It's everything you need to kickstart your evening.
Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it.
That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it? Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique, and you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits. You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it. That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless. But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show. Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Headliners, and let's go to gbnews.com/YourSay for a couple of your comments. Hugh Jarrett says 1984 is a terrible book to use as a manual. At least with Brave New World, everyone knew where they stood.
Nice one, Hugh.
I don't get it myself, but I can tell it's clever. And A. Morris says the BBC has done more to promote racism than any other organisation in Britain. Oh, come on. We do our bit, don't we?
Come on.
We've got the Mail on Sunday now with a transgender American now self-identifying as Canadian. Nick.
Nice. A transgender American woman files for asylum in Canada over Trump's changes. Lol. I've added the lol. This is an Arizona transgender woman, and it claims that the United States is no longer safe for trans people, so it's gone to Canada, where, of course, they probably are very, very safe because it's Canada, and probably ever lost
Moose.
spectacularly. Moose. Is that a reference to our podcast, Paul? Because no one's going to get that. They love a moose. Anyway, she wrote on her page, I have fled in hopes of finding safety, security, and the freedom to continue to live my life and access to take my medications as prescribed. That was a key part as well. Always get the medications in there. So what can you say? I mean, apparently nothing. Very, very rare for me. I've got nothing. Maybe we've just done one too many trans stories over the last 3.5 years.
Yeah,
I finally run out.
I wish they did it quietly so we didn't have to read about it. That's what I mean, do what you like. Just do it quietly, so I haven't got to read about it.
Do you think we'll get countries starting to form along ideological lines? So, you know, all the transgender people will go to Canada. All the, right-wing people will go to America.
Do you know what? Sorry.
Has anyone watched what were they called? The Trailer Trash Boys? The
Trailer Park Boys.
Trailer Park Boys.
Okay.
So I watched every episode and I can't remember the name of it. Canada is not as woke as it's perceived, you know. There was a time in Canada, much like in Great Britain, where it was full of wallies like me wearing, gammon jackets and not buying the Observer.
Yeah, they play hockey and go on oil rigs and beat each other
What do
up.
Canada make of this? Are all the trans people going to Canada?
Can I say one thing, though? kudos to this person for actually leaving. Think about the amount of people like, oh, if Trump gets in, I'm going to leave. Oh, if Farage gets in, I'm going to leave. Actually left.
Yeah, well done, Susanna.
Well, talking of leaving, we've got the Metro now with a working-class hero kicked out of Hawksmoor. I guess a Ponzi steakhouse like that won't want to serve gammon. Paul?
Nice. No, great stuff, Leo. I'm going to miss it. Tommy Robinson kicked out of London restaurants because staff didn't want to serve him. That's the story, by the way. Good night. No, he was out eating at a Hawksmoor restaurant near Regent Street, rather lovely restaurant. Leo and I eat there all the time after the show. Looking forward to seeing you guys later. In central London. We often go there, don't we? Then we go to the strip club, of course. But the restaurant manager explaining that the staff felt uncomfortable. I'd love to understand why he felt uncomfortable, because Tommy Robinson has said nothing as strong as Keir Starmer has said in the last few weeks.
Well, they probably would kick him out as well, obviously.
I don't think they would kick Keir Starmer out.
Yeah, see, I've got a controversial take on this. I actually believe in total freedom of association, so you should be able to kick anyone out.
Oh, why not?
And Tommy was even sort of saying it was funny that Clarkson had said that Starmer wasn't welcome at his pub, and some people have pointed that out. The problem is, will it be applied equally? So if you just kick someone out because, you know, they were a lefty or based on race or gender or something, obviously everyone would go ballistic. So it's never going to be equal. In a truly free world, you would be able to do that. And the free market would decide, if I kick you out because I don't want gammons, someone down the street would say gammons are us, and they'd open up and they'd get all your custom. So I think that would work. But it's never going to be applied like that, so therefore it is bad.
And also this looks like snobbery, you know, because Tommy Robinson has some oikish opinions instead of the refined, the highly educated, ideologically refined opinions of the middle classes. He's been booted out of a steakhouse.
Tommy Robinson's welcome in my restaurant.
Well, there you go. The restaurant, Hawksmoor, has replied, saying, our focus is always to give the best restaurant experience to the most people possible. A public figure was asked to leave because guests and staff felt uncomfortable and had complained. This was not about politics or beliefs. It kind of was. We want to welcome as many people as possible, regardless of background or views, to our teams or as our guests. So let's get Paul Pot and let's just squeeze this one in quickly. We've got the Telegraph now, and what's racist today? Today the Michelin Restaurant Guide is racist, Nick.
Amazing. Michelin Restaurant Guide, racist and Eurocentric. And so some person who's a professor of anthropology, whatever, in Emerson College in Boston has said that we need to decolonise food because not everything, still one remaining thing hadn't been decolonised for, and that is food. And you're the worst person. You're the first on their list.
I'm wearing it.
You're the most. You need to be absolutely decolonised into oblivion because they're saying that it's all racist and Eurocentric. Basically, good food is evil and racist.
Yeah, I mean, you can hardly blame France for having good restaurants.
You can't blame France. I haven't read it, but I guarantee it's not racist. I absolutely guarantee there is no racism whatsoever. And the idea that Michelin star is elitist, of course it is. Of course it is.
Literally the point.
It's not who's best at a Burger King and McDonald's.
That's a man wearing bacon. So don't forget, you can stay with us all day, not just on TV, but on radio and on your smart speaker too. To listen to us on your smart speaker, just say, play GB News on TuneIn. And that's it for tonight's show. Thank you to my guests, Paul and Nick. Dixon Cox. Simon Evans will be here tomorrow at 11 p.m. with Steve N. Allen and Kerry Marks. And if you're watching the 5 a.m. repeat, then stay tuned for breakfast. And I hope, sincerely, to see you next Friday. Have a great week, everybody, as I frantically try and fill this few seconds that I didn't time very well. Goodbye!
See ya!
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Good evening and welcome to your latest GB News weather from the Met Office. So there's been plenty of heavy and thundery showers for many of us today, and there are further showers on the way as we go through the rest of the weekend, but these generally more scattered in nature. The weather fronts that we've seen through today that brought us those heavy showers clear away eastwards as we go through into the start of Sunday, but those tightly packed isobars indicate some strong and blustery winds still. Any heavy thundery showers across the southeast quickly clear eastwards as we go into the early hours of Sunday morning. 1 or 2 showers still skirting across the north-east coast, and further showers then arriving across Northern Ireland during the early hours. But for many of us, plenty of clear skies, and that does mean it could turn a little chilly in places, particularly across the northern half of the country. But it does mean a dry and bright start for many of us on Sunday morning. Across parts of Scotland, there'll be plenty of early sunshine, perhaps a few showers skirting the very far north and the very far west. Perhaps a little bit more cloud here with those showers pushing in. And across Northern Ireland, a showery start to the day too. For northern parts of England, central, southern, eastern parts of England, there'll be plenty of sunshine to start the day. But for parts of Wales, southwest England, perhaps a little more cloud around with 1 or 2 isolated showers to start. The showers we see across western areas then push their way eastwards as we go through Sunday morning, and in the afternoon sunshine we could see 1 or 2 showers bubbling up too. The showers could turn a little heavy in places, perhaps the odd rumble of thunder, but generally lighter and more scattered than the showers we saw on Saturday. And it'll feel a little warmer than we did on Saturday as well, highs in the south of 19 or 20 degrees, but it will still be a little blustery, particularly across the west. A dry and bright start for many of us then again on Monday morning. Again, some showers across western areas, these spreading their way eastwards. And again, much lighter and much more scattered than we've seen over the weekend. However, turning cloudier across the west with another area of rain arriving. And that north-south split continues as we go through much of next week with some showers, some longer spells of rain, but also turning a little bit warmer in the south too.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
£54,321 in totally tax-free cash could make your year the best yet. How would you react if you got that winning call?
Oh my God, I'm going to cry. Oh my God.